the news tonight, slain BRT passenger Bamishe Ayanwola buried in Lagos. Police uncovered biggest IPOB bomb factory, says it's capable of mass killing. And World Bank lowers Nigeria's growth forecast to 3.1%, says another 5 million pushed into poverty. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. 22-year-old fashion designer Bamishe Ayanwola was found dead after boarding a bus belonging to the Bus Rapid Transport Scheme in February has been buried. She was buried at Aton Cemetery in Yaba, Lagos on Friday. Ayanwola went missing after boarding a bus at the Chevron area of Lekki on her way to Oshodi. A BRT driver, Andrew Ominikoron, is facing counts of conspiracy, rape and murder over Ayanwola's death. The suspect claimed that he had no connection with the fashion designer's death, but was only following instructions of abductors who held him and Bamishe hostage on the bus. The Ebonyi State Police Command says it has uncovered the biggest bomb factory in the south is suspected to be operated by a proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB in Obego, a boundary area between Onitsha, Isu and Ishelu local government area of the state. Spokesperson of the command, Chris Anyawu, who disclosed this in a statement on Thursday, said its operatives stormed the camp following credible information gathered that hoodlums were operating and wreaking havoc within Ishelu axis. Anyawu explained that during the operation, which led to the arrest of the commander of the IPOB ESN in Ebonyi State, Sunday Uba, aka Bongo, 2 of the separatist group members lost their lives and 1 of the commanders was arrested. Young Nigerians make up the largest population of the growing flow of migrants from Africa to developed countries, with over 80% of the number involved in the Mediterranean Sea crossing, taking risky journeys across the globe, and casualties continue to increase on a daily basis. Meanwhile, hundreds of Nigerian migrants are also being deported on a daily basis from various destinations, including Italy, Libya, and other countries. These issues are of major focus as the world marks International Migrants Day on December 18, a day set aside to recognize the important contribution of migrants while highlighting the challenges they face. To find a lasting solution to this menace, United Nations Agency, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, has over a decade continued to make conscious efforts to promote the universal principle of safe, humane and orderly migration. Speaking on TV360's flagship program, TV360, the Chief of Mission IOM Nigeria, Laurent Dubok, says the legal means remains the best form of migrating to other countries. Yet that the IOM is in partnership with relevant agencies in the country to curb irregular migration and reintegrate returning migrants into the society.
First of all, we do campaigns, we inform people indeed, but it's also extremely important to respond to the causes and the reasons why they are leaving. So that's why we have specific programs also to help developing their skills instead of thinking that the future is outside. So we work also at telling them the danger of smugglers, the danger of traffickers, but also we have to follow up because we don't respond to the problem by just telling them not to go. So we have programs looking at developing the labor market and the capacity for them to be included. So that's quite important. It's very the core of the action, the prevention is not a campaign exclusively. What is positive, and we have seen, if in the recent past the majority of the departure were from Edo State, we see a decrease. And a decrease because the government is engaged, private sector is engaged, we work with the civil society, and we have seen that actually there are less and less people leaving from that region. What is sad is that actually people are leaving from other states now, and we see more and more people leaving from Kano.
The federal government has declared December 26th and 27th, as well as January 2nd, 2023, as public holidays. The Ministry of Interior announced the first of season holidays in a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary, Balgore Shuaib, on Friday. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, called on Christians to use the festive period to pray for the total eradication of the insecurity bedeviling Nigeria. Aregbesola also asked Nigerians not to be swayed by criminal elements who intend to create anarchy in the country. The Nigerian Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Niger Delta have screened Loretta Onyeche as chairman of the Niger Delta Development Commission Board. Onyeche, a special assistant on social media to President Muhammadu Buhari, was screened by the joint committees alongside 13 others for NDDC board roles. In his opening remarks, Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Amos Bulus, said that the NDDC has been there for a very long time without a board, and this has been affecting the intervention in this agency. He urged the nominees, if confirmed, to ensure that the purpose for which the NDDC was established was achieved.
Today, we are thanking Mr. President for being magnanimous enough to send some nominees. And why we are here today is to screen those nominees that are sent down to this place by Mr. President. And I want to believe that those of them who are successful, or if all of them are successful, they will go and form the Niger Delta Board. And we are saying that with that, they should hit the ground rolling and make sure that the purpose for which the Niger Delta Commission is established is being achieved.
When we had a reason to turn down the presidential nomination of this same nominee in the Senate, it was because the position for which he was nominated was the position of an umpire, electoral umpire. And there were members of the public who were concerned that because she is a card-carrying member of a political party and a presidential aide, an active one, she was not the best person. And in the Senate, specifically in the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, where I'm also a member, we took into cognizance the concern of the public. Today, in the Senate, we are faced with a different scenario. She has been nominated as a representative from an oil-producing state and for the purpose of holding a political appointment for which she is eligibly qualified.
A federal high court in Abuja has voided the plot by the Imo State government and some security agencies to arrest the opposition coalition spokesperson Ikenga Ugochinyere. In an application for the enforcement of his fundamental rights, the opposition spokesperson Ikenga Ugochinyere had prayed the court to avoid the said false allegations as they were all politically motivated. Ugochinyere contended that the false allegations were cooked to stop him from further exposing the manipulation of the voter register by officials of the Imo State government, for which the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has deleted millions of fake registrations, and about 13 of its staff are undergoing disciplinary action. The court therefore restrained the defendants from arresting or detaining Ikenga Ugochinyere.
For the court today, quashing and voiding those frivolous charges and barring them from arresting, investigating, inviting and interrogating me on issues connected to all those baseless trump-up charges that they fabricated makes me happy. It reinforces my faith that truth at all times pays, and that has given me so much energy to continue on the path of truth. I have more exposures to make. There's many things I will reveal in the coming days and weeks, and this judgment has given me the boldness to do more, because if we have won today, whereby if a man makes comment that is true and then you charge him for terrorism, it was so ridiculous that the government of Imo, they went as far as saying that since Omoma Magic and compromise of the voter register was reviewed, that INEC offices started being bombed, alluding that maybe I'm the one bombing it. and then they started talking I'm committing mass murder and terrorism. That was a stupid and baseless charge. So this is victory for democracy and rule of law.
Today, what the court has pronounced, it has barred the state government, the DSS, the police, and all security agencies from infringing on his rights, arresting, inviting him in any issue that has to do with the Omoma magic. And that's what has happened today. So he's a free man. He can go around and start his campaign, because the whole essence of all this conspiracy, using the state power and using all the security agencies to cow him, is to stop him from campaigning. You know, currently he's a candidate of the PDP in the Delta, North and South. So he's a free man now. He can go back to the people. He's the people's messenger and pass his message to the people.
The Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, says separatist groups in the country are working to disrupt the 2023 elections. The IGP was represented by Dandora Mustafa, Deputy Inspector General in charge of operations, spoke on Friday when he appeared before the House of Representatives at a committee investigating attacks on the facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. According to Dandora, the force has been taking measures to prevent the attacks on INEC officers. He added that the IGP met with operational officers of security agencies in Abuja and discussed measures to be taken to safeguard the facilities of INEC. Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, FIFA chief announces plans for 32-team Club World Cup. Details of the story and more right after this break.
The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has fixed Monday 12 December 2022 to Sunday 22 January 2023 as the dates for the collection of PVCs nationwide from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily, including Saturdays and Sundays. All registrants who are yet to collect their PVCs or requested for transfer of registration, as well as those who applied for replacement of lost or damaged PVCs, can now visit INEC local government offices where they intend to vote to collect their PVCs. Collection of PVCs will be further extended to ward level for those who are unable to collect theirs at local government offices from Friday 6th to Sunday 15 January 2023. Thereafter, the exercise will be reverted to the local government offices of the INEC until Sunday 22nd January 2023. Remember, only those with PVC can vote on election day. Collect your PVC now to vote. It is your duty. This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, making your votes count, consolidating our democracy.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. 22-year-old fashion designer Bamishe Ayinwola, who was found dead after boarding a bus belonging to the Bus Rapid Transport Scheme in February, has been buried. Ayinwola went missing after boarding a bus at the Chevron area of Lekki on her way to Oshodi. A BRT driver, Andrew Ominikoron, is facing counts of conspiracy, rape and murder over Ayinwola's death. We also told you that the Ebonyi State Police Command says it has uncovered the biggest bomb factory in the south is suspected to be operated by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB in Obegu, a boundary area between Onitsha Isu and Ishelu local government area of the state. Spokesperson of the command, Chris Anyawu, explained that during the operation, which led to the arrest of the commander of the IPOB ESN in Ebonyi State, Sunday Uba, also known as Bongo, 2 of the separatist group members lost their lives and 1 of the commanders was arrested. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Public school students in Philadelphia will have to wear face coverings at school for 10 days after their winter break as communities around the country contend with another surge of COVID-19 and other respiratory viruses. The mandate, which will run from January 3rd to 13, is aimed at reducing the spread of respiratory illnesses after a holiday season likely filled with more social gatherings and increased exposure. But nearly 3 years into the COVID-19 pandemic, fewer localities are rushing to enforce strict mandates than in previous years. There is debate over the mandate's efficacy as months of stringent public health rules early in the pandemic worsened the public's COVID-19 fatigue and stoked political controversy. U.S. households are once again able to order free at-home COVID-19 tests as the government attempts to limit the spread of the virus this winter. It announced that its test program, which was paused in September, would be restarted on Thursday with deliveries beginning the week of 19th December. The decision comes as COVID-19 infections rise ahead of the winter holidays across the country. Well, we'll take a breather here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. 2 of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country. Corruption not in my country.
That was a very good business.
Yeah.
The furniture you brought was very perfect.
But that's how we roll.
Let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much of it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I just do business like that now. Yeah.
Hey, that can give me back my check. Let me go look for someone that understand business.
Take.
Your loss.
It is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
you will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people. Make we only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Mary Kano joins us now for more stories in business. Over to you, Mary.
Thank you, Folashade Helen. Welcome to Business News. The World Bank says 5 million Nigerians have been pushed into poverty as a result of inflation in 2022. In the report titled Nigeria's Choice, the bank said the country's inflation has worsened since 2020, eroding the purchasing power of Nigerians and increasing poverty. It has also reduced Nigeria's 2022 growth forecast to 3.1% from a previous forecast of 3.8%. This, the bank explained, is due to Nigeria's slow economic growth amid decline in oil output and reduced non-oil activity. Well, for more insight, Johnson Chukwu, the CEO, Kari Asset Management Limited, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining me. Now, due to the country's slow economic growth, the World Bank has reduced Nigeria's 2022 growth forecast to 3.1% from a previous forecast of 3.8%. Now, do you see a further decline on the grounds of Nigeria's economic situation?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, there's a possibility that our growth will actually decline below the 3.1% as currently projected by the World Bank. If you consider the fact that our third quarter GDP grew at only 3.225%, when as compared to about 3.4% it grew in the second quarter of this year, those are symptoms that we're witnessing a declining GDP growth rate. And some of those factors that led to a slowdown in the GDP growth rate are still manifest. We saw the manufacturing sector contract in the third quarter of this year. We also know that given the challenges the agricultural sector had in the third quarter of this year, you may see a slower agricultural growth rate. And agriculture currently accounts for almost a third of the GDP, about 29% of the GDP. So if there is slowdown in agricultural sector growth, there's a slowdown in manufacturing sector growth, the oil and gas sector is still in negative unless it rebounds, then you could possibly see a further slowdown in the GDP growth rate. Of course, some of us have talked about this repeatedly when we say that by adopting severe, strong contractionary monetary policies, where the central bank has continued to increase lending rates, that you may find out that some sectors of the economy may be impacted negatively, added to other factors that are even beyond financial access to credit, issue of insecurity in most parts of the country, which is hobbling agricultural production as well as affecting crude oil production. These factors will clearly possibly push the economy to a slower GDP growth rate at the end of the year.
Other recommendations. Now, the World Bank has also advised Nigeria to increase non-oil revenues by raising value-added tax. Now, do you agree with this?
You recall that the government recently raised the value-added tax from 2.5% to 5%, which was a 100% increase. The challenge we have is that the government is not able to meet its part of the social contract. So further increase of taxes, particularly even the value-added tax they are referring to, remember it's consumption tax. And today, one of the challenges we have is that the consumer power is weak. Consumer purchasing power is weak as a result of the inflation rate. Today, we're talking an inflation rate of about 21.47%, up from about 21.09%. So if you are seeing a consistent erosion in consumer purchasing power, at the same time, you want to impose additional tax burden on them in terms of consumption tax, you will further weaken consumer purchasing power. And the implication of that demand will decline. If demand declines, production will decline. If production declines, GDP will contract. So this is these things are all related. You don't look at it from one perspective. Ideally, if you have a strong consumer demand, then you will say, let's increase taxes so that you can attract more revenue for the government. But if you have a weak consumer demand, increasing taxes may work against the overall macroeconomic growth and development.
All right, now Johnson Chukwu, the CEO, Kari Asset Management Limited, thank you very much for your time and your contribution. While still talking business, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says the federal government was owed approximately 5.2 trillion naira in debt. The minister, at an event on Thursday, explained that the debt, which cuts across 19 ministries, departments and agencies, was owed by over 5,000 companies and individuals. Zainab Ahmed, who was represented by the Director of Special Projects in the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Victor Omata, cited poor information sharing and enforcement as reasons for revenue loopholes. The minister further revealed that the debt aggregation effort is still ongoing. Well, let's take a break now and return with Stock Market Review. Despite the inflation rate rising for the 10th straight month, the bulls dominated proceedings today, 0.17%. That's the all-share index, also still in the 49,000 level. Market capitalization closed at 26.86 trillion naira, higher than what we had in the previous trading day. A look at the activity chart shows decline in volume and turnover, but the deal is still in the green. Now, UPDC and PZ are to thank for today's gains, as well as 17 other gainers against 11 losers. Well, it's becoming clearer that the NGX might just coast home to a positive return by the end of the year. Now, over to the global stocks. Fears that a recession is ahead next year because of the Federal Reserve's unrelenting rate hiking push stocks lower as investors continue to sell into year-end. Well, that's the stock market report for Lashadi.
Many thanks, Mary, for that update. And on the foreign scene, Russia's launched a fresh missile attack on Ukraine on Friday, hitting critical infrastructure in several cities across the country, including the capital, Kyiv. According to authorities, water supplies were also disrupted, adding that metro transportation in the city has been suspended, as well as stations should be used as shelters. There were reports of loud explosions in several parts of the city, as residents have been advised to take shelter. And sport, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has announced that the football body will launch a 32-team men's club World Cup in 2025. This comes 4 years after the proposed Club World Cup concept, initially meant to take off in 2021 with 24 teams in China, failed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Infantino disclosed this in a press conference ahead of the Argentina versus France final on Sunday, despite Europe's biggest clubs rejecting the proposal. Meanwhile, the current World Cup format is also set to change at the expanded 48-team tournament in 4 years' time. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Fola Shadi. Have a great day. Bye for now.